Not.
You're still on mute, Hogan. Nope.
Can't hear you.
Okay, I'll go without this. How are we doing now?
There you go.
Okay. Okay, I'll start this meeting off, finance meeting. I'm subbing for Councilor Green. The Tech Garden assessment, I believe Councilor Green has decided to hold a meeting on Friday, I believe at 11 o'clock. Is that right, Jimmy?
Yes, 11 a.m. on Friday morning.
Okay. And I guess I don't know if there's any questions from the my fellow councilors regarding that. I don't know where he stands as far as with the lease. So I might suspend any kind of questions until the 11 o'clock Friday if any other councilors want to chime in.
I think that's fine.
Councilor Allen is on the call here. Councilor Bay.
Yeah, I think that's fair to just wait until Friday.
Okay. Okay. Councilor Bay. Okay, he's okay with that too.
Yep.
So, okay, now we have, I guess we got Mr. Diaz regarding the waiver of the RFP for the Harvard Kennedy School Government Performance Lab.
I believe this is for a different topic, but I don't know. This is for a waiver on a amendment that we have on a project management tool that we are using. So I don't know where the mix-up came from.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Diaz. So in other words, I explain that a little more to me. It says what I got is a waiver and RFP for Harvard Kennedy School Government Performance Lab. Is that what you're involved in?
No. So that agreement was discussed by the full council last week, and it was approved.
Okay.
So
well, then I got the wrong thing here. So I guess this is sort of typical. I'm not doing a good job subbing here. Here we go. Okay, Mr. Councilor, former Councilor Rudd, we got budget transfers of cyber security insurance. Is Tim on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks, Tim, for straightening me out here.
Although Frank is really the cyber expert, so I will defer to him to answer.
Frank, cyber expert. Well, lateral to you.
Yeah, sure. Lateral to me. So I'm happy to answer questions about this. Just brief background. The city maintained a $5 million cyber liability policy with Chubb that was placed by our broker, Haler, Fryer & Kuhn. Chubb declined to renew that policy. They had decided to, because of the number of claims nationally, they decided to get out of the municipal cyber liability business. And we discovered, both through our broker and through our own due diligence, that this is kind of a national trend. There's a lot of carriers that are getting out of the business. And Haler, Fryer & Kuhn worked really hard to find a substitute for us. They did. Finally, they went out to a number of insurance markets. They came back with two potential carriers. One is Ascent, which is a division of Lloyd's of London, and the other is North River Insurance, which is a division of Crum & Forster. So both huge international conglomerates. So the good news is Haler, Fryer & Kuhn was able to get bids on comparable policies to the Chubb policy that is non-renewed. The bad news is that coverage, that $5 million of liability coverage, is going to cost us just over $19,000, almost $20,000 more than the previous coverage cost us. It's important to note that we have had no claims against our policy, but for those of us who've been involved in any cyber liability incidents, whether sitting on a not-for-profit board or sitting on any other board, you know how expensive these get, and $5 million is probably the minimum. We could reduce the cost, but $5 million for an incident of any magnitude for an organization our size is probably the absolute minimum that I'd recommend. So it's unfortunate, but I think the cost is unfortunate, but we're certainly comfortable with the coverage. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from any counselors regarding this? Frank,
And
would I be wrong in assuming that this is $5 million? That's not a lot, is it, to cover any kind of problem, right?
It's certainly the minimum. We wouldn't be able to afford anything more than that. 5 million. We were really the first to go to 5 million. The school district at the time that we were carrying 3 and going to 5, the school district was well below that. The county was below that. 5 is now pretty much the standard, counselor, for a municipality our size, simply because anything larger than that becomes unaffordable.
Okay. Any questions from my fellow counselors regarding this?
And the only thing I should have added, and I apologize, is that on the recommendation of Haler, Fryer, Kuhn, and after the internal committee reviewed it, we did agree that the Ascent Lloyd's of London was the better policy.
So Frank, we're taking $19,000 from the budget transfer from our medical insurance. Is that set aside? That's set aside money, right? The medical insurance money?
We do set it aside, but we are well underneath our projected costs.
What's well underneath? Our set asides or our budget transfer?
Our actual expenditures in that for health insurance are well underneath what we projected. So we're comfortable taking the money from there.
Okay. Hearing no questions from anybody unless there are. Councilor Bay, are you okay to move this on the agenda, or?
Yes.
Councilor Allen? I'm not sure he's on the finance
Yes.
committee. That's it. Okay, so we'll move that. Okay, so the next item is Mr. Rudd, appropriate funds to okay, that's appropriate funds. You're okay. We already covered that. You got anything to add on that, Tim? Appropriate funds for the cybersecurity insurance?
No, the one is just permission to do it. The other is the transfer because there wasn't enough money.
And okay, so I guess we're okay with that too. Mr. Diaz, I guess, sorry for throwing you a curveball, but I was on the previous month, 1 month behind. This is the amendment to increase, not to exceed the amount, $3,000 of Altesian. What are we doing there?
Sure, no worries at all. Thank you, Councilor Hogan, and happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. So this is our request to update the ordinance that allows us to upgrade our subscription to project management software that we had already been using for a while. This is Jira and Confluence. So this is one of the industry leaders when it comes to project management tools, and it helps us to move away from disparate storage solutions such as Google Drive, for example, while allowing us to manage our workflow in a transparent, accurate way, which is especially important for my department because we're often engaged in dozens of projects across all departments. And it also aligns with what we're doing with our project management office, which aims to standardize and implement best practices for project management, not only at API, but also citywide. So I will only add that it also comes with zero cost to the city because it is funded by our Bloomberg grant.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions of Mr. Diaz? this is one of those things where if I ask a question, I'll be even more confused, Mr. Diaz. So, but if you say we need it, we need it, I guess. Everybody okay with pushing this forward on the council's agenda? Councilor
Yes.
Bay, Councilor Allen,
Yes.
Councilor Paniaga, are you okay? Okay. I guess I'll look at, I know, Rod, so what? It's St. Patrick's Day. Give me a break, will you? I catch you laughing.
Paniagua.
Paniaga, yeah. God, sorry, counselor. He's making light of the way I pronounce names. And I could get back at you too there, Counselor Rudd, but I won't because I'm a professional. So hearing any other questions before we close this meeting, the St. Patrick's Day meeting, hearing none, motion to adjourn. How about that, Counselor Bay? Motion
So
to adjourn?
moved.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you, Counselor.